Well, congressional staffers for members of the state's congressional delegation got their boots in the dirt on a recent tour of the Louisiana sugar industry. The tour began in Vacherie with a handful of staffers learning about Louisiana sugarcane from the farmers who grow it. As This Week in Louisiana Agriculture's A.J. Sabine tells us, the goal of the annual farm tour is to develop relationships with ag policy makers while giving them a closer look at how national legislation in Washington affects farmers back home here in Louisiana.
Congressional staffers walked toward the sweeter side of Louisiana agriculture during a tour of blackberry farms in Vacherie. About a handful of staffers and industry leaders had a chance to see how Louisiana's sweetest crop comes out of the field and into your sugar bowl. U.S. Senate staffer Brandon Harder, who works in ag policy for Kansas Senator Jerry Moran, says all of agriculture must work together in order to be successful.
It may not be wheat and cattle like we are in Kansas, but it's still some type of agriculture. So when you go back, it just puts a face with a name, and it puts a story. That way when you go and you're trying to educate other people, other staff, when I tell Senator Moran about this, and he can go talk to other members and explain what the sugarcane industry is all about.
Attendees heard from members of the Gravois family who have operated blackberry farms for nearly 100 years. LSU sugarcane specialist Dr. Ken Gravois explained how sugarcane developed here in Louisiana. His brother Greg told visitors how immigrant labor issues have impacted his family's operation. Because of this trip, Louisiana 6th District Congressional staffer Christine Lofgren has learned about the human touch of her work in Washington.
So now when I go back to my boss and we're discussing the Farm Bill and we're discussing H-2B and H-2A visas, I actually have a face to put to that legislation. And so not am I now talking about just some plain legislation, but I'm talking about legislation that will impact people that I saw today. And
originally from Manhattan, Lofgren had never been on a farm before. Naturally, she jumped at the opportunity to become a tractor driver. She described the experience as nerve-wracking.
Here I am driving this hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of machinery, and who knows what I could do to it. But but no, it was really cool. It was nice to get out, and it wasn't just driving up and down. We were actually in some small way helping out with the process, so that was cool to see as well.
For these congressional staffers, learning how to help out with the process on Capitol Hill strikes at the heart of this sugar tour. In Vacherie, I'm A.J. Sabine for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture.
The Louisiana Sugar Foundation hosted the congressional staff visit. Established in 2009, the foundation works to educate congressional staff members on federal research programs which are vital to maintaining the state's sugarcane industry. For more information about the Louisiana sugarcane industry or the Sugar Foundation, you can log on to our website at twilatv.org. Still to come on This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, it's the presidential pardon that happens every year. But just who started this Thanksgiving tradition? Kristen Oakes has the answer in her Ag Minute coming up.